Alrighty, you two, welcome into another episode of what we like to call Going Into Friday, which is really just a midweek recap. We are filming this on Thursday, May 1st, the first day of the month. April is over, but we're going to talk about some May trades and some May opportunity. But obviously, it's filtered into May, and it's quite the eventful space at the moment. First off, we always like to cover maybe just the overall indexes. We don't watch them that much, but we do like to keep a pulse on them. Bouncing back strongly. We had all this volatility back down with all the tariff scares, and the tariff scares are still around, but they have lightened and possibly become a little bit positive, and so we are just bouncing our ways back to previous levels that weren't seen since actually really March, which is actually kind of crazy. Time flies by. But with that being said, because the markets are a little bit more stable, we are getting some much better opportunity, in my personal opinion. I was going to have you go first, Dom, but I actually wanted to really quick mention the best trade I took this week, which was AGMH. Very small penny stock land if you're in the penny stock world. And I was late to the party here. I did not see this until it was at around 10 cents. So I actually missed the breakout where you could have easily gotten in the sevens. And next thing you know, we'll go into after hours in a second, but it would hit as high as 19. So we're talking almost well over a 200% run. Well, no, almost a 200% run. It was approaching 200%. But I didn't see it till 10, and I didn't get it until 11. I was just really late to the party. Didn't even acknowledge it until we had this really good consolidation. Joined the party here around 11 and a half, 12, and then sold 2/3 into 17, 18, 19 here in after hours, and then had the last third. Unfortunately, I puked it in pre-market yesterday when it went red-green. The red-green level, I think, was like 13 cents or so. So did give back some gains on that last third, but did lock in, 20-something grand? And again, over 100% of opportunity. Only needed to catch a very small meat of the move. But that's the whole name of the game, right? I don't need to be there for the whole thing to make really good money. So that's kind of my trade of the week. But anyways, I know, Dom, you just had a banger of a trade this morning. If you want to, feel free to discuss and talk about it.
Yeah, it was actually kind of a rough last couple of days of April for me on what has been a really good month. We've had not lots of opportunity, but the market continues to give good opportunities. I feel like we've had some decent breakouts, some really good reversals over the past month. And going to this week, we were blessed with CEP. And this was a stock that really would have came on a lot of people's radars after going from $10 a share up to 40 over the course of 2 days. And it began consolidating. And this is one of my favorite patterns. This is the multi-day breakout, something that has been, a big part of my arsenal for the past 10 years, which is just stocks go on multi-day runs. They become extended. They garner a lot of interest from longs and shorts alike. This was one that was a great catalyst with the Bitcoin market. They had crypto news, and that news had legs. And what we saw over the past few days was a stock that just continued to hold up near its highs. It failed to go lower, and over the past 2 days really caught steam again. Maybe some shorts got squeezed as well, which is something we talk a lot about over at Clover Trading, is really trying to figure out who's stuck and from what areas. But we had a really clean breakout similar to AGMH, where it's just a stock that's breaking out over a previous high, broke out over 39, and we're in the midst of a morning spike right now into the mid 50s. So a really quality play there. We talked about it a ton in the room, kind of gave my opinion on it over the past few days. I saw a lot of other people do really well on it as well. So that's awesome to see. And just a great reminder for myself and for others out there that it really just takes one good opportunity, one good trade. I know Huddy's going to bring up some more tickers this week that have really been starting to make some moves. It just takes one good trade to get yourself back on track, get yourself going in the positive direction again, maybe even get yourself out of a drawdown. But the market's been really exciting right now. We've had lots of runners, from OMEX to WW to, CEP. And I don't know if Huddy's going to talk about any of those in particular, but the small cap market is starting to heat up, and right now is a great time to be trading, and just really grateful that I am a trader in the space right now.
Beautiful. Real quick,
Yeah.
Huddy, before I just want to mention one thing. If I had one trade to say I botched, it would be CEP. Because I took a lot of losses on it short, and I told myself I'm only going to long it from then on. Tried to long it, didn't capture the breakout, and now it's 20-30% higher. So botched that one, and I have quite a lot of FOMO from Dom's lovely trade this morning. But Anyways.
Yeah, I think Dom just kind of nailed it on the head that, we have such an incredible market with so much opportunity that like if you're not getting educated and learning during the slow periods, then you're not going to be prepared for the hot periods. Let's just take it from a this week approach, right? Like we're not even going to count last week and talk about the percent gains that we saw this week in the magnitude of opportunities. The first one that I see on my list would be PONY. PONY was like one of the many multi-day runners that we had this week. It came from, let's just call it a low of 454, topping out at a high of 1134. And if you know anything about penny stocking, patterns, there's some opportunity baked into this chart. That was PONY, and then Dom mentioned it. So what? 450 to 12, about roughly 200%, give or take. And then you have CEP, pretty much started around the same time. We're talking 12 to 55. And again, tons of patterns baked into this chart for people that like shorting parabolics or people that like buying breakouts. It had a little bit of everything for both sides of the equation. Yeah, you nailed it on the head with AGMH. AGMH is another big percent gainer going from a low of just 5 cents to a high of 20 in the after hours. So another 200% plus run in just one day, top to bottom. Really nice breakout chart there, actionable stuff. And then even going forward, like we still have stuff in play. WW is probably the one that I'm watching closest right now. Weight Watchers, a company that maybe some of you guys know, that is on the verge of going bankruptcy, and there's some investor that's getting involved to try to help them out. And the story is kind of there, but it's kind of cool that we get to trade stuff every now and again, like Weight Watchers, products that like, one day you're gonna have a conversation with a friend or a family member, they're gonna bring up Weight Watchers, and I'll be like, yeah, well, hey, I traded that stock once. Did you know it's a 70-cent stock and it's about to go bankrupt and they're coming out of their bankruptcy? Like it's just it's always kind of cool for me when I get to talk about tickers that are in play and tickers that people know about. Like most people are not going to know about CEP. They're for sure not going to know about AGMH. They're for sure not going to know about Pony. But the Weight Watchers, they probably have at one point like heard about, right? And it's an active stock right now. It's trading a bunch of volume. It's got a bunch of volatility, and it's definitely something that goes on a watch list. And we at Clover Trading, we start to watch and look for these types of actionable patterns to see if they're going to go higher or much lower. So that's it for me.
Nice. Yeah, the only thing I want to add to you about Weight Watchers is that's a good point where like there's like I don't want to say like if you're new to trading or don't know traders, like there's one thing to just trade a ticker that nobody knows, but then there is one thing to trade a ticker that people do know, which is what you mentioned, Huddy, on Weight Watchers, which is like people like you don't have to be a trader to like Weight Watchers. I've heard that company before, and when that happens, that does create I think a little extra extra spice to the idea that this could be a sick run. I mean, it already is a sick run, right? It's gone from 15 to almost 115. We're talking like what I don't even know what that is, 8x, 9x, not 10x, but 7, 8x somewhere in there. And the only reason why it reminds me, if you want to go blast from the past, really quickly, BBBY was Bed Bath & Beyond, and again, their name got bought out by was it Overstock.com? I don't know, somebody, but the actual company themselves went bankrupt. And they offered some insane runs on their way to zero because they just were going bankrupt. But that being said, Weight Watchers does make me think of BBBY. Who knows if it's going to play out the same, but just those companies that become, or those companies that are well known already that then become into the world of momentum day trading, it gets fun. So hopefully we get some more opportunity from Weight Watchers in the future.
Yeah, you think about GameStop or AMC, other notable ones that people know, they remember. I even remember during the weed runs in the late teens of just hearing from relatives or friends about these stocks that they know about in the cannabis space that were making big moves and weed was being legalized. So it's always fun when you get to kind of, even when we're trading bigger stuff like Tesla, like Kyle was a lot last month, just being a part of the bigger picture that a lot more people know about because we do trade plenty of stocks that no one knows about and will never hear about, like in AGMH. And we still find some phenomenal moves on those as well.
Yeah, they're everywhere. All right, guys. Short and sweet video, straight to the point, tons of opportunity. If you haven't captured that opportunity, that is absolutely A-okay. That's why we're here to teach. So feel free to always join in the room, join us on Good Morning NASDAQ, Wine Wednesday, whatever resources are out there, we like to provide them. So anyways, hope to